If you fail to plan, you have planned to fail. Hey, good morning, and welcome to this week's Lively Bible Encounter entitled Circle. There's many people in many circles, and within each circle are many people who are often out of place, not invited, or even ill-gained, out of maybe obligation to a job, a specific cause, or even inherited relationships. At the end of it, it's on us a failure to plan your future according to the will of God. And in this very setting, just a short while ago, working hand in hand and even speaking with the creator of this foundation, I find it a future place of memories, relationships, and thousands of coffees and sunsets and so much more. And in that, I realized the greater significance of establishing parameters to one's innermost circle, that we might be built up in a healthy way and be protected from the evil desires of the world. And that, for me, is where Life Meets Bible this week. And coming out of many passages as I began to explore, I find three things that we must do in each one of these passages, and in order to make our circle even tighter, to be in the center of the will of God. And that is these three things: that we must plan, that we must invest, and that we also must inspect. And so where Life Meets Bible, the first passage comes out of the book of Proverbs, and in chapter 13, verse 20, we read these words. We read, "Whoever walks with wise people will be wise, but a companion of fools will suffer harm." And thinking of the conversations that were had here and what a future looks like right here on this foundation, because it was so methodically planned out that it doesn't invite a space or even a time for those such people. That we read, "Whoever walks with wise people become wise." It seems so smart and genius even. It's God's word, right? And so it is. But to invite wise people into your inner circle, that we would, I won't say that we would forsaken those that we would consider unwise, but we would feed into their ministry, into their life even, that hopefully they would become wise in all the things that they do. But in our inner circle, what we feed off of is that we don't allow ignorance into our circle. And another one was Proverbs 22, verse 24, and we read, "Do not make friends with hot-tempered person. Do not associate with one easily angered." And there's going to be a lot of people that might disagree with me whenever we read this passage, that we don't allow anger into our relationships, that we don't associate with that type of worldliness, with foolishness, not at any given time, but on the everyday basis, that we don't allow that to be who we are. Because if we allow these things into our life, into our relationship, at some point we begin to become like those people. And before you know it, you're easily angered, you're easily talking rumors, you're easily falling to the ways of the world. And God is calling us out now, saying, hey, look, get rid of these things. Don't make that not only your circle, but don't make that who you are. And by allowing these things into our life, into our innermost circle, whether you like it or not, that's who you're becoming. Another one is Proverbs 1:10, and we read, "My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent." It's like allowing something on your TV that you know shouldn't be there. That if you're not going to watch it in front of your children, in front of your wife or your husband, your parents, that you shouldn't allow it into your life at all. That if you know that there is a guilt there, that there's something that's saying, hey, look, I need to change this about myself, then friends, change that about yourself. Do not consent to these things being in your circle. Your TV, that's your circle. What's on your phone this morning? Friends, that's your circle. What are you allowing into your innermost circle? Let's go back to those three words: that we would plan, that we would invest, and that we would inspect. And I would encourage you this morning to do just that, that you would plan your circle as the young man planned the foundation of what one day is going to be a cabin sitting right here and looking over the horizon and getting to watch every color change and hearing the roosters crow from over the holler and the conversations and the coffees and the laughter. He is planning so methodically that sin will not enter this foundation, that the evil desires and the things of the world will not be welcomed here, that he doesn't give it consent to be on this foundation in the building that is yet to come. He's planning, he's investing, and along the way he inspects every square inch. And one more passage, and this is the one I want to wrap up on. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 33. It says, "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character." Let me read that again. 1 Corinthians 15:33, "Do not be misled, for bad company corrupts good character." Let's look at the young man that is investing so much time, so much prayer, so much planning, investing so much into just the foundation alone right now into this, that if he would allow one person that could make the good pitch, that could sound good about what they're talking about, the whole foundation becomes corrupt. And you this morning, let's look back through your life, and only you can do that this morning, but look back through your life and ask yourself, who have I allowed into my relationship? Who have I allowed into my innermost circle that simply doesn't belong there? Plan, inspect, and invest. Plan, invest, and inspect. This morning, let us inspect our circle. And I want to pray for you this morning. If you want that extra oomph, that extra strength, the courage, then reach out to me this morning and just say, hey, I would really appreciate a little extra strength, a little extra courage. Maybe I need some words of whatever to be able to push these people out of my circle for a while until I get myself into check. Because whenever we read that last passage, it says, "Do not be misled." There's so many people in this world this morning that is misleading us in the wrong direction. The world this morning is leading you in the wrong direction if you allow them into your circle. And this is the result of it. It says bad company corrupts good character. You can have some of the best character, but whenever you allow the wrong people into your circle, it becomes corrupt. You become corrupt. And so to get the corruption out of our own lives, out of our own hearts, we must start not only by planning, because sometimes planning is, or our life anyway, is so far along that planning has since passed. So let's begin to plan, not only plan, but also invest, and not only invest, but also to inspect the people of our future, the heart of our future. Where's my heart at right now? Where's my head at right now? What in my life has led me here that I need to get rid of? What do I need more of in my life right now that would put me on a path that would be right with Christ? Because I know that I'm not happy. I know that these things just simply aren't pleasing to God. I know that I can be better. I know that I can do more. And friend, this morning, I know that you can do all those things. I know that you can be more. I know that you can be better. I know that you want the best for your life, because everybody does. We just want to be happy. We just want to flourish. And how do you do that is by simply inviting Christ into your life and becoming most like Him. But understand this, is that you can't do that without the corruption of the world. Without bad people, with bad people in your life, you'll never be right with Christ. We invite ourselves into the lives of other people so that we, in our Christ likeness, can promote them and that we can feed into them. But just because we're invited into someone else's life doesn't mean that we have to make them the core of ours. And again, I know that there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with me and that don't like these words. But there's a lot of people in your life often that simply don't belong there. And so I want to wrap up and end with this morning as a word of encouragement this morning, friend, that you would begin to plan, invest, and inspect your life this morning. And that the people and the things that are in your life right now that don't belong there, begin to pray fervently, hard, on your face, on your knees, that you would pray for the strength and the courage to rid these people out of your life, that God would give you whatever it is to let go of these people, if nothing else for just a little while, so that you can get your life on track with Him. And if something happens that they come back into your life for whatever reason, is that you would have the strength, after all of this, that you would have the strength to be able to teach them what the right way of living is and what a right life with Christ looks like. Because there's nothing better than true happiness, and true happiness only comes from one source, and that is the Creator. True happiness in this place right here, it begins with its Creator, that He begins to plan, invest, and inspect every step, every inch along the way. And I believe after watching this foundation being built for just a short while, that there is nothing but blessings and happiness that is yet to come out of just this place. And you can have the same thing in your life this morning by doing those three things: plan, invest, and inspect. And I thank you for joining me on this week's Lively Bible Encounter.